Hi, Amanda. Thank you for joining me today.
Hi, thanks for having me here.
How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Excited to be here.
Yeah. So you have a unique business, and I am curious how you found that to be, would you call it your life's purpose?
Yes, yeah. So I started out wanting to be like in an ad agency. I have a master's in corporate PR, and what ended up happening was while I was in grad school, my cousin, who I was really close to, ended up passing away from meningitis. So it changed the direction of my career and what I found important in my life. And so I became an entrepreneur through that time because I wanted to be able to have more control over my schedule and be able to really be in control of like what I work with, who I work with, and because you spend so much of your life in work, right? So that's
Yeah,
kind of the backstory on like
yeah, wow.
what inspired me to do the work I'm doing now.
That's a pretty dramatic shift. How did you find entrepreneurship compared to being an employee?
Yeah, so in terms of like my experience with it, so I've had experiences working in different marketing agencies and doing server stuff and retail. And for me, like I've found entrepreneurship to be the space where I get to be most authentically myself and be fully expressed and do the work that I feel really inspired to do. I remember when I was younger, my mom used to make fun of me and laugh and say, like, you're on the phone all the time, like with my friends, because I would be giving them advice or coaching them through things. And so doing coaching, especially around business, has been the direction I'm going in.
Yeah, that is so interesting. Isn't it funny how in childhood even it just was a natural affinity. It was kind of the same for me. I was like the little counselor of
Really?
the
Oh, that's cute.
yeah.
I love
Yeah,
it.
it's pretty funny. So tell us a little bit more about exactly who you like working with, what types of businesses, and the form that your coaching takes.
Sure, for sure. So I'm a business operations coach and Fractal COO. So COO stands for Chief Operations Officer. And my whole focus is around helping you create a profitable business that is beyond simple to run and gives you time freedom. So, my mission is to help you get the freedom you set out to get when you started your business. So, many of us start businesses for different reasons, different life moments ignite those reasons. And what I find a lot in the space is you there's so many amazing like coaches and healers that are doing great work in the world, but they're burnt out. They're glued behind a computer screen or their phone all day, and they're not really in control of how they spend their time or what they focus their time on. They might have back-to-back calls on their calendar. And so the work I do is really helping you make your business simpler to run so you have more control in terms of being as tapped in or as tapped out as you want. So it's about creating flexibility in your life.
Yeah. Coaching can be really, if you don't work with the right clients that are most aligned with you, can be very taxing on the nervous system. Um, yeah. So, what
Totally.
are some of the things that you implement with different coaches that make their lives simpler?
Yeah, and I loved how you mentioned alignment around clients. That's a huge piece of the puzzle. So I've ran multiple rounds of my mastermind capacity, and something that I discovered across like I want to say 9 times out of 10 for most of the members that go through it, it's not necessarily like building tech or automations or systems that is going to instantly give them that bandwidth or time freedom that they're looking for and that peace of mind in their business. But the first thing that we end up doing is actually transforming their ideal client avatar, so their dream client avatar. Um, it's like kind of like the water in a cup. You can have like a clear glass of water that is so refreshing and so amazing to drink from. But if you drop one drop of dye, the water changes colors. Like the water is no longer the original form. And that's the same with our offers and our programs is we want to make sure that it's an aligned fit on both sides because you don't want to be working in resentment energy or working in energy where it just feels like you're bracing. And so we want to fix that piece first so that you're not just creating systems, boundaries, automations in your business to brace for unaligned clients, but rather to deeply support the aligned clients you call in.
Absolutely. I definitely learned that in my accounting business. You know, having that employee mindset, you just want to get paid, right? You don't quite realize that there's so much more than just the task that you think that you're going to be doing each day. You have to run an entire business. And if you are
Mhm.
not, if you are signing up anyone who is willing to sign up and you're giving discounts because you just want to get paid and you want to get the client and you're in this fear and scarcity mindset about money and, oh, I don't have time. I can't say no. I can't be selective. You are drained because the people that you are serving are not happy. You are not happy. Even if you do really great work, if the person is not aligned with you, there is nothing you can do to satisfy them.
Mhm. That is so true. And it's just a waste of everyone's time versus when you do the work to get really clear around your ideal client and like fix your messaging for that in your social media or content marketing or how you're promoting your offers, like it's gonna feel like night and day. What I try to do, and it's the same with teams too, like what I try to do with clients is create this like celebration culture where it just you open up Voxer, you open up Telegram, and it's just this energy when you're doing the work together. And it's this energy when you're working with your team. And um doing that communication work and really getting clear on who aligns with who is going to help support that
Yeah,
because you want to be able to enjoy like the work you do for sure.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, you mentioned bracing. And so often when you're with clients that just are not aligned, it's like you're just waiting for them to come at you with some kind of attack. And that doesn't need to be the case. Um, and I would say that many coaches have had some traumatic life experiences so that they kind of fall into this, have the desire to help others learn from what they've learned. And
Totally.
so when you are a person who has been through traumatic experiences, you might default to the belief that people are coming at you, people are always mad at you. There's no way that anybody's going to be happy. So you might be bracing all the time, not realizing nobody's mad, everything's all right.
Hmm.
Like, so shifting that mindset and finding the aligned clients is so important.
Totally. That's so, so true. Because if you're bracing in your energy and then you're creating systems and automations where you're bracing as well, you're just going to keep manifesting experiences where you're bracing versus when you shift more into that celebration, like you're going to keep creating experiences that you're celebrating.
Yeah.
So it's totally that alignment is the key piece is I believe like you can create a business that feels really good, that feels relaxed and is profitable. And it's that alignment piece in everything. Like we want to create aligned potency in our offers. We want to create aligned potency in how we run things with team. We want to create aligned potency in like how we set up our, ascension ladder with your offer suite or vice versa. And even aligned potency within yourself, how you show up as a leader in your business.
Yeah. So working with people you enjoy working with. I mean, be very clear about who you're hiring and who's hiring you,
Mm-hmm.
and make sure that's a really fun energy, that there's pleasure there, that you're excited to talk with each other. Everybody knows how it is to work with somebody who feels like a drag. And you definitely, I mean, entrepreneurship is such a magical opportunity to create something so
Yeah.
beautiful and fun. So you don't actually have to accept any kind of friction or contraction. The minute you see it, you can be like, nope, that's not going to work. Or you can
Mm-hmm.
also, use it as a reflection point. Oh, what do I need to learn from this experience? And I don't have to continue it. I don't have to have the expectation that things need to be hard. We come into that with money too. Just, oh,
Yeah.
making money has to be hard. And I think when we're making content, where we're trying to sell to everybody, what we're really doing is selling to nobody. So we think
Mm-hmm.
by being selective, we're delaying our income. It's really quite the opposite, because when we're not selective, people don't know what we're offering, who's the right fit, and it actually takes longer to get clients.
Yeah, it's like, I think that's so beautiful because it reminds you of like the power of one. So the power of one is this philosophy where you can actually grow faster in your business. So you could hit multi six figures faster. You could hit seven figures faster by focusing on the power of one. And so the power of one is getting really clear on who's like your one dream client, your one dream offer, and your one dream platform that you promote this offer to that one dream client over and over and over again. And a lot of times, it could be really easy in this space to get distracted, right? To be saying like, well, so and so is creating a webinar, so and so is doing a Facebook group, so and so started a Telegram broadcast channel. But you can literally get to your next income level or your next growth stage in business by focusing and getting super clear in that alignment. Like when you're talking about if you're marketing to everybody, you're marketing to like nobody, like that's literally it. Like you getting so crystal clear, so potent around what it is you really want to do here on earth and who you want to really support.
Yeah, I think another thing that we run into is not being clear on what we want, because
Mm-hmm.
we have been so conditioned to want what other people want for us.
Yeah.
You run into that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say when I first started my business, I didn't get a lot of support from it. Like I got a lot of like, this is a waste of your time. What are you thinking? Like, this
Mhm.
isn't the right path for you, and vice versa. And when I feel into it, like, I couldn't imagine not doing it. And so we have this one life. Like, none of us are going to live forever. Like, none of us get out of life alive, essentially. Like, you can't take anything you create with you. All it is you, right? And I think a lot of us are living lives thinking that we're going to live forever, when in reality, like all you truly have is this moment, like is another moment, another moment, another moment you're gifted each time. And so you just have to be really clear around like how you want to spend your life and what matters to you and what is important to you, because you don't get a redo of life. If you feel like you're going to regret not doing something or regret not experiencing something, then that's really important information to inform how you spend each moment in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, mommy's approval is also not going with you when you die. So all the people who are like, oh, that's such a waste of time. It was so funny because, you know, my dad was like, you've got a corporate job where you're making six figures and
Mm-hmm.
you're going to go do your own accounting firm. And he was like, you're crazy. And I just was like, I just knew. I was like, no, this is the path for me. And I ended up making way more money working on my own. But yeah, those voices in the back of our heads that say, don't do this, you're crazy, you're wrong, you're just playing. Sometimes it'll be go as far as like, you're being lazy, you're being destructive because you're not following this path. People can get really terrified when you decide to actually go and follow your true desires. And so you can get so much negative nonsense going on in your head or actually people saying it to you. And so it can be really challenging. But like you said, I mean, we're so uncomfortable with death. We have we just don't want to face the fact that this iteration of life is going to end. So even if you're a person who believes in reincarnation or that the soul lives on, or uh, you don't get it this way in this body. So this is going to end, and you want what you want, and you were designed to want what you want.
Exactly. And also too, it's like when it comes down to it, your family and loved ones are responding to the version of you that they know. And it's scary whenever you change or you grow or you evolve. And they want to protect you, right? Nobody wants to see their loved one suffer. Nobody wants to see their loved one struggle. And a lot of times when you're experiencing that or experiencing that type of backlash, a powerful tool is to check within yourself. Where are you feeling insecure around the direction of your business? Where are you feeling insecure around how you're leading your business? Because it's showing up in your interactions with your loved ones. They're sensing, they can literally smell your insecurity, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
they're just reflecting back your own insecurity around your business. And so the work that needs to be done is you feeling way more secure in how you lead your business, way more secure in how you run your business, more secure in how you show up in your business. And the more like inner security and confidence you show up with, you're naturally going to get more sales. You're naturally going to grow and expand your business. You're naturally going to grow and expand your audience and all the metrics we follow for growing a business. But it's that, inner security piece that we get to work on and journal on and reflect on
Yeah,
and do
it's
nervous
so
system practices around too.
yeah, yeah, it's so important to not try to push that away and be in denial of it, because then you're just what you resist persists, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you want to talk more about those practices that help you really face them and kind of move them through your body. And
Yeah, this is great. So a couple of things. Uh, I did this business receiving mode, um, journaling and reflection and just analyzing like how I created six figures in 6 months in my agency because I had spent 8 years prior, like under the six-figure mark, like under earning, like I was showing up, I was doing all the things in my business, and I was really curious around like what did I do to create like that six figure in 6 months so fast? That's a really fast expansion. And so what I discovered, and I kind of break it down into this business receiving practice, is one, I was doing like feeling portals. So feeling portals is getting really clear around how you want to feel with whatever you are desiring or trying to manifest. So for me, like having a six-figure business felt relaxing, right? Like it feels like relief in my body. It feels relaxing. So I would activate a feeling portal where I would practice relief. I would practice relaxation. I'd imagine a time where I felt relief, or imagine a time where I felt relaxation, and literally practice that in my body. So when you feel relief, you take a deep breath, like, and you notice like your shoulders relax, you notice your neck relaxes, your jaw relaxes. So I'd practice that bodily response multiple times a day, um, and activate that feeling portal. And it naturally started to manifest things around my business. I'd also do shadow work. So uncovering why I didn't want more sales, or why I was afraid to have more clients, or why I was afraid to grow my business, and then turn that into positive affirmations that I said over and over again. So a lot of journaling. And key fact, everything that I was afraid of, I turned it into a process or a system or an automation to combat that in my business. So if I was like, oh, I can't imagine onboarding a bunch of clients all at once. Well, let me update my client onboarding so that that would be a smoother experience, right? So that was that piece. And then a huge piece of the puzzle was understanding sabotage moments. So when you are growing and expanding, you're going to be met with different sabotage moments. Like these are like doors from the universe, from God saying like, do you want to sabotage now? Do you want to like go back to your original baseline? And so your goal, it's kind of like a video game, is to keep battling or removing these sabotage moments, right? It's the phrase like when they say new level, new devil. Well, if you know that fear is just false evidence appearing real, right? Because it'll bring in these different moments, then you just have to know that that's an illusion, and that you've combated a sabotage moment previously. So it's just more realities around that's an illusion, that's an illusion. The only truth is that there is a reality where you have already overcome that piece. So a lot of times when I work with clients who grow super fast, like the first sabotage moment was like feeling confident enough to show up on Facebook Lives, or feeling confident enough to show up and talk about their offer, right? They were afraid to. That was false evidence appearing real, that it'll be dangerous to show about your offer. So they overcome that. Then they have it a huge launch, and then they might feel overwhelmed because they might not have the systems in place to hold all those clients. And so now they're afraid of clients asking for refunds, client, asking, saying that this program is crappy, or vice versa. So that's another false evidence appearing real, where you go, okay, let me overcome this and let me tweak things so that we're not going back to the original baseline, but we keep growing and expanding. So that's a huge piece of the expansion containers as you grow and expand, is every new level, there is always something that you can create to address it. Problems are just systems that haven't been created yet.
I like that. Problems are just systems that haven't been created yet. I haven't heard that
Yeah.
before. Yeah, absolutely. And our culture, I would say, it's very mental, very linear, and what you just described might be considered woo-woo by some people. Working with emotions and the sensations in your body, because we have been taught that we need to just drive everything from our mind, and the rest of this stuff doesn't matter. It's like primitive and animal, and it's not a part of it. And that might get you a good corporate job, a lot of reading and a lot of following the rules, and staying disconnected and out of your body. But as we go into entrepreneurship, we start realizing that that stops working, and that now we have to integrate our mind, body, and emotions, and come from a place of total alignment in the whole self. So have you run into people who, when you try to go do those practices with them, give you some resistance, or?
I would say the biggest piece is around businesses that have way too many moving pieces, and the CEO grew too fast. So there is a mindset shift that has to happen first before we can really even like dive into the work and like start creating systems and SOPs and team training and all of that stuff is the mindset of what got you there won't get you to the next level. Like that we have to like really remove, because when you are growing fast in your business, it's typically, I would say 0 to 6 figures or even 0 to 7 figures. You could just focus on the expansion lever, which is, following divine downloads, just creating whichever, like create. But when you start hitting 6 figures, multi 6 figures, you really should be hitting the capacity lever as well. It's like driving a car. You wouldn't just hit gas all the way. You need to also hit the brakes sometimes, especially when you're going around different curves. Otherwise, you're going to drive off, right? And so what happens a lot of times in the back end of someone's business is they grew so fast and might not have had the time to create the capacity levers, or they just kept growing and kept choosing sales and marketing activities at any cost and didn't take the time to build out their client delivery side, their programs, their admin, their customer service department, like all these pieces to help you sustain growth and to help you serve the clients that you sold into your offers. And so that's the biggest piece, because when you're first starting out in business, marketing and sales is literally like, you do not have a business without marketing and sales, right? That is one of the first things I'd recommend somebody to learn is mindset, marketing, and sales when you're under 6 figures in your business. Like that is go time. When you hit the 6 figure and above mark, your delivery side of your business becomes way too complex for you to handle yourself. And so you start bringing on team, you start bringing on support, you have to start putting up, simplifying things so that you could handle it more. And that's the piece, if you're not actively doing that piece, where you can run into an issue where I sometimes get hired for, where nobody knows where anything is at. Like Google Drive is like a hot mess. Like Slack and Trello and ClickUp is all over the place. No, people are missing things. Tasks are falling through the cracks. And it's because, like, I say this phrase, the difference between a puddle and the ocean is its container. Like you can never make a puddle into the ocean unless you also do the container work.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when you are working with, do you work with like larger corporate clients? Because you have mentioned teams, working with people's
Yeah,
teams.
so I
And
predominantly work with clients in the multi 6 figure to 7 figure range. In terms, well, low 7 figure range is like my sweet spot. Like that area is like the area I love supporting clients in the most, because there's so much that's happening in that space where like what you focus on or where you direct your business, like can make or break your business in that space. So that's the area that I'm like, those are my dream clients. That's the area I love supporting. And so that's the area I specialize in.
okay. And how would you help a client define what their dream client is if they're in the mindset that I just want to serve, whoever, or the right person is just going to fall into my lap. It's just how do you work with them through those?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think it's always easier to get clear on what you don't want in a client versus writing out what you do want, because you can always turn those into its opposites. So some baseline ones that I put across the board for dream client avatars is you want clients that pay on time. You want clients that respect you. You want clients that do the work. You want clients that have a gratitude mindset. You want clients that um, are curious, right? They're willing to like look within themselves. You might want clients that are self-led. Those are kind of like baseline pieces. And then we get kind of clear in terms of personality, like what works with you. So sometimes there are clients that are more abrasive, and for your personality type, you're like, not my not my jam. Like I don't want to be coaching clients that are very abrasive. But for another coach, they're like, lay it on me straight. Like, like that's my
Yeah.
vibe. We're like very abrupt languaging. So it's super important to just get clear on who you vibe with, and who you want to be in containers with.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that requires a lot of self-reflection, um, and observation, and and probably what we want to avoid is not trying to change who we are, what we like. Um, it's a lot easier to just kind of go with what naturally works for us instead of, I think I want this, so I'm going to try to change myself into this other. Do you ever run into that?
Yeah, I could see that a lot in the luxury marketing space. So especially high ticket. So a lot of people will believe that if you sell anything high ticket, then you have to have the branding of like Neiman Marcus or the branding of Saks Fifth Avenue, right? Now you have to become this mysterious, like elusive brand. And that's just not the case. There's people who have all types of brands that are selling high ticket offerings. So I see that a lot in that space. Um, but the main thing is that self-awareness around like how you want to show up in your business. This is your life. There's so much customization there. And when we were talking about the inner security piece, whatever decisions you make as the CEO of your business, you just have to have the inner security to back it up. You can make any decision in your business, customize it any which way, just make sure your inner security backs it up.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because often we have new ideas and we want to do something that's totally unconventional, and we start listening to those outside voices that say, no, nobody does it that way. This is the right way to do it. But we can make something really amazing and beautiful if we're not tamping down our creativity, as long as we have that inner security. Like if we know, I actually, in my corporate job, one of them came up with this paperless system and had, you know, quite a lot of people having to get on board with it. So but I just knew in my mind how it was going to work, and I had no question. And I don't even know how that happened because it wasn't something I had ever done before, but the design was there in my mind. And so I was communicating it. And whenever they had a question, I had an answer, and it was just total magic. But when I try to take somebody through a different type of project and I have a lot of questions and I don't have the clarity about how it's going to work, it just falls flat on its face because you can't get people to buy in if you don't have the certainty within yourself.
Mhm. Yeah. Something that we preach inside of my mastermind is you could do anything. It's just a matter of what support we need to put in place to achieve it. So your expansion is inevitable in my mindset. Like you could bring anything to the container and we'll create a process for it. We'll figure it out, what support you need to put in place. And what I will share is if you have a coach or mentor that says that's not possible or that's just not how it's done, that's limited thinking because you can do anything. It's just about, do you have the support in place to make that happen? Like if you wanted to host like a megawatt conference at Madison Square Gardens, like, yeah, let's do it. That's been done before. That is so possible. Just what support do we need to put in place to make that a reality? Right. And then that's where the creative questions start to come up, that the manifestations essentially come up in terms of like birthing the reality.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the way that you take the manifestation, take the emotion and the body and all the practices that some might consider woo-woo and bring them into a physical process. And
Spiritual business operations. Yep.
yeah, because so many are
Mhm.
like, I'm gonna manifest this and just gonna I'm just gonna wait here for it. I don't know. I'm gonna release the how. And it's like, okay, to an extent, but if there's never a how, then how are we going to get there? Right. That, I mean, it has to come in at some point. And it totally has happened for me where I was like, I'm going to release the how. I trust. I got this. And then something dropped in and I was like, this is the how. And able to put that into action. But it seems like people get a little confused when they start moving into spirituality and they start throwing away practicality. And the two, I think, need to work
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, you have a stable and flexible business when you combine both, right? If you're only in your masculine energy, you're going to hate your business. Everything's going to feel hard. If you're only in your feminine energy, you're going to feel frustrated with your business because nothing really comes to form. So you need like both pieces to actually create what we call quantum leaps, or what we call like, wow, like how did he or she create that like so quickly? Or like, for example, when I had that 6 figures in 6 months with my agency, that was a blend of the two energies to create that. It wasn't just hustle my butt off, and it also wasn't just like manifest and release the how.
Right, right. And then the something you just said brought me to inspiration, acting from inspiration rather than what?
Yeah, acting from inspiration rather than shoulds is a big one. Um, I would also say, like, okay, the feminine does things in rituals and the masculine does things in systems. So your business as its own entity needs systems, it's rituals, right? And then you as an individual entity of yourself need rituals, right? And so when we're creating businesses that like just naturally grow and expand, right? There's just no limit to it growing and expanding. You need to define what your rituals, your recurring habits are going to be for you to stay in alignment, so that when you go do the system or the process in the business, the action, it's an aligned action. I think people get confused where they think I have to always be happy, positive vibes only to grow an expansive business. No, we just need to get clear on your rituals to prime you before you do the Facebook Live, or before you create the sales page, or before you do the pieces in your business, because it's just going to help you show up in the pieces in your business way more potently, which is what moves the business forward.
I like that, showing up more potently, not
Mhm.
necessarily always in positivity and shining cheerleading smile, because I am no cheerleader. And
Oh,
yeah,
good.
yeah. It's funny though, because a lot of the marketing advice and sales advice you get out there will be like, you need to be hyped up and you need to be jumping around and you need to be, projecting your voice and full of energy. And it's like, okay, but some people find that really off-putting, and it's not, it can be a little scary for them. It's just overwhelming and intense. So I love the idea that anything's possible. And another thing that I would have a question about is, so when you say your ritual, um, that doesn't necessarily mean that can't change over time. It's just
Mhm.
consistent practices. So if you could speak about that.
Yeah. So say like, you, when we're referring to sabotage moments, so say like you, every time you make a sale in your business, you retract, right? That's just your normal. You retract, you stop selling, you spend all of it, or just some sort of sabotage to kind of sabotage that experience. Well, a ritual would be to have a journaling practice or a nervous system practice that helps you not retract. So before you do actions that retract, you might journal or do a nervous system practice to feel safe in the new expansion. And it's a ritual because you do it daily or you do it weekly, or I recommend doing it daily, ideally, for the most potency. And because you do it daily, inner work compounds. So the more you do your journaling, your nervous system work, the more you are stretching those muscles. Like your mindset stretches, your nervous system's capacity stretches. And so when you get met with new opportunities or new breakthroughs in your business, you don't always retract to that lower baseline. You might retract a little bit, but it's like stretching a muscle.
Mm, yeah, that makes sense. And also having, for people who love variety and hate routine, that can also be a very sabotaging mindset. But if you really just don't like to do the same thing over and over every day, you can have like a whole toolkit of rituals, different
Mhm.
rituals that you can,
Exactly.
yeah, that way you're still preventing the sabotaging behavior without
Exactly.
feeling like you're in a rut or you're bored or whatever story you want to tell yourself about routines.
Exactly. And so like if you're ever working with a client and they're getting ready to get ready, or they just don't take action, or um, they have a breakthrough, but then they go right back to their original baseline. This is also called like upper limit syndrome. The Big Leap by I
Oh
think
yeah.
Jay Hendricks. He
Yeah.
talks about this, but this is the type of work that we would want to do and get them consistent in it because, like how we said, inner work and nervous system work compounds. So if I have a client that keeps going back to that baseline, one of the first things we'll do is like, well, do you have like that morning routine ritual? And are you sticking with it? Because if you could stick with that and like really build it up, that's going to compound where you're not having as many breakdowns around your launches or being so harder on yourself around your after a sales call or vice versa, because you're building up capacity to hold more. And God universe loves to fill things. So if you are expanding your capacity to hold more sales, hold more clients, hold more opportunities in your life, right? You have the capacity to hold millions. And you are also doing the systems work so that your business can hold millions, right? Because both have to be happening simultaneously. Now you have a business that can physically hold millions because you have the identity of a seven-figure entrepreneur and you also have the business infrastructure that can handle millions. So
Mm.
where people get messed up is they only do one or the other. So bro marketers are banging at, like the business infrastructure. Luxury mindset coaches are banging at the seven-figure identity work, but you're going to create a really relaxed and profitable business that you don't have to escape from, like escape to Bali, burnt out, whatever, if you're doing both work simultaneously. And this is spiritual business operations, which is what I teach.
Mm. Yeah, I love that. So many people think that the morning routine is like, they might view it as like a parent, like telling them that they have to do this over and over, and they're not seeing that piece that you just described. Um, so it shouldn't be this feeling of I'm being punished, I'm having to do this, or that feels like contraction. But what you're doing is you're creating a container that can hold that expansion.
Yeah, like if I ever work with somebody who sees systems as boring or sees systems as dry or sees systems as not something they want to do, they just want to play in the energy of play all the time. Um, that's fine, but we need to put somebody in place who holds the masculine container, whether that is a director of operations in your business, an online business manager, or vice versa, because like you can't truly have feminine energy without masculine energy. That's just basic polarity. So if you want to be able to receive more in bigger and bigger ways, then we also have to make sure that we have the containers for it. And so when it comes down to it, like I think a lot of it is limiting beliefs. A lot of it is just how things might have been taught and how they experienced it. But true systems and business operations feel so simple. It feels like, oh my gosh, like why weren't we doing it this way before? That's how you know it was set up right. Like if you hire a systems expert or a business operations expert, that's the words that should come out of your mouth when they set up a content bank or when they set up your customer support department or whichever. Like it shouldn't feel like, oh, they just created this technical system that I just don't know how to use and it's just sitting there, right? It should feel like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like why didn't we think of this before? That's how simple it should feel.
Yeah, that makes sense. And in order for the feminine energy to flourish, she has to feel safe. And if
Mm-hmm.
there's no container, there's usually no safety.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you could create like inner safety with rituals, right? So with journaling, with embodiment work, identity work, but you're still going to come back to the same business that causes all the issues. So you want to fix the root, right? You want to like, a good example of this was my agency. I was growing it by the seat of my pants. It felt like we were building the plane as we were flying in the air. And I hired, mindset and breathwork support. And it was beautiful. Like I loved how it felt on the call. I felt so relaxed. Then I get off the call, open up Slack, and immediately get sent into trigger. Like there was just so much chaos that was happening in my business. It wasn't until I hired another business operations expert with a VIP day, and I was like, I'm in it. I cannot see the forest for the trees. I know technically what needs to be done, but I'm dysregulated. Can you take a look at my business? She was able to identify all the leaks. We fixed them within a month, smooth sailing. Like I could have kept just trying to throw mindset breath work onto it, but a root cause needed to be fixed in the business. So like I might have showed up feeling like more relaxed here and there, but then the root issues would have kept re-triggering me. So you
Yeah.
need to get to the root. Your business has its own things it needs, and then you have its own thing you need.
Yeah. And I think so many business owners, like, especially if you're coaching other people how to coach or how to, fix the leaks in their business or make their, then you might have this shame, like, well, I should have this handled because I teach
Mhm.
this. And very, it's not true at all. Um, like coaches need coaches. And
Exactly.
it's so hard to be completely objective. I mean, nobody's
When
ever
you're in
completely
it.
objective.
Mhm.
Yeah. But when you're in it constantly, so calling in support doesn't mean that you're somehow a failure and that now you're not qualified to coach your clients or any nonsense like that.
Yeah, but that just shows the importance of business operations. That's why I will shout about business operations like from the rooftops because it really is the root of most business problems is a business operations problem. And I've been in business for over 10 years, and like I've worked with so many coaches, so many amazing experts. This has hands down been the root cause of most business problems I've come across.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, that's what I experienced in corporate. It's what I've experienced in having my own business. It's often like when it's so much easier to be on the outside and look into a business and be like, oh my goodness, we got this, this, and this going on. And the people in it are like, oh, oh, I didn't see that at all.
Exactly. True, true.
Yeah. Well, this has been so awesome. I think we've given a lot of value here. This is a really great conversation, and I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, and let's connect again, and I'll put all the ways of contacting you in the episode description. Do you want to just say any of that out loud for anybody who's not able to read it?
Yeah, for sure. So you can stay connected with me by heading over to www.expansionwithamanda.com. I am Expansion with Amanda on all social platforms, and I want to give like a gift to your audience. So it's called the Business Receiving Mode Workbook. So when I was describing the business receiving practices that I did in my business to hit 6 figures in 6 months, these are the exact practices that I did. And I packaged it into a workbook, so it's like super easy for you to go through. So that is a free gift for your audience, and I'll hand them over the link for that.
Oh, amazing. That's going to be really valuable. Okay.
Yeah, I'm so
Okay.
excited.
Yeah, me too. All right. Awesome. And we will be in touch soon. It's great talking with you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Bye.